I think a lot of people struggle with confidence.
Mm.
I noticed when my confidence grew, but not just like confidence in myself, but confidence in other people. I'm a visionary, so I see other people's businesses and it's like, dang, that's such a good idea. I want to pour into them, but they're not even pouring into themselves.
Mm. We like it, all of it, all of it. But look, we have Miss Tanisha in here with us today, like real estate mogul, marketing genius as well, right? Tell them a little bit about like how have you got into this place in your career?
Mm. Okay, so I feel like a lot of what my marketing has become and my business has become had to do with my personal development. And I know, like, when I first met you, it was like a totally different story. I came to the studio like shy. Oh, can we redo that? Can we go back? But I feel like now I've developed as a person more in all aspects of life. So that shows like genuinely.
That's dope.
And we talk about that a lot, like the difference between like personal development and brand development.
Yeah. Hey, but let me ask you this. I never asked you this, you just made me think about it. What made you like take that step? Even when we first worked, that was you taking a step. You making a conscious decision, like I'm about to do something different. Like I need to do something different. I'm sure you had a vision for what made you like take that step?
So, okay, what made me take that step? I think I was seeing like a lot of things from COVID that I had developed. Like I feel like a lot of people develop bad habits during COVID, or sometimes some good habits and whatnot. But I think I sort of like lost myself and was chasing the business.
Wow.
And so I started noticing that, and I started noticing how it was reflecting in my business. So that was like my time where I stood back and was like, okay, something is missing. And what was missing was me. I was promoting real estate, but I wasn't promoting myself, my purpose, and everything, wrapped in between. So I remember I scheduled 2 business coaching sessions. One was with Tia Coleman, and then I had another one with Latasha Brooks. And those were honestly like, me and Tia just talked about this the other day too, because that conversation changed a lot for myself and how I viewed myself.
Wow.
And like, I was writing in my notepad, wrote everything down, and sort of shifted my approach to everything. I started focusing on myself more versus my business.
Yeah. And that's really good. That's a good point to even touch on, because it's like our personal brands are so important. And I know I battled with even like representing my personal brand, but also not wanting my face to be the ultimate face of my business, but still understanding the fact that people attach themselves to humans. Like our brand can be a logo, colors, all this beautiful design, but people connect to people, right? Like even when you see what insurance is Flo with?
Say that again.
Flo, the insurance.
Oh, wait.
She's like with State Farm or Geico or the Name Your Price tool or whatever.
Yep.
But it's got this big company. They created these and I was just not Flo. It's this whole character base. But
I think it's State Farm.
State Farm. Yeah. But they created something so that they take this huge company and broke it down to individuals, where those personal faces, those personal brands represented the company.
Yeah.
And you caught on to the fact that I need to put myself out there more so that ultimately my business will flourish, but people need something to connect with, right? Definitely. But what is it that hold people back from that, you think?
I think a lot of people struggle with confidence. I noticed when my confidence grew, but not just like confidence in myself, but confidence in other people. Like I'm a visionary, so I see other people's businesses and it's like, dang, that's such a good idea. I want to pour into them, but they're not even pouring into themselves. So then I take a step back.
Yep.
So I think with like personal development and confidence, you have to like literally sit in the mirror and say to yourself affirmations. Like, I am this, I am a millionaire. And it gets weird, it gets uncomfortable, it gets very, very personable. So you have to like take that step back. What am I doing wrong? What do I want to improve? And have those like real conversations with yourself. People don't talk to themselves.
They don't. They don't. That confidence is definitely something you have to pour into that. And to build a personal brand, it takes that level of confidence because you literally are putting yourself out there saying, I'm representing everything that's behind me.
Yeah.
Like your business, your services, your products. And this is stuff like, even in real estate, I'm sure it's stuff where these were talents of yours. Like, I'm sure you've always been able to connect with people before you got into real estate. You've always been conversational. You've always had a certain, you've had skill sets before. So these are things that are personal to you that you say, I'm going to take these personal traits and I'm gonna use them to benefit me in business, you know, and then I'm gonna take my face and stand in front of that and say that everything behind me is what I stand on, what I represent. That takes a lot of confidence.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so what was like one of your moments where you realized, okay, I'm stepping into a different light in my branding, or like I'm more confident in my business?
I think it was like I've lived a little bit, right? I don't look as old as I really am, right? So I have a certain level of experience where I've gathered all these skills where I think at a certain point I've just like I've remembered skills that I've built.
Yeah.
Like even being in front of the camera like this, I started off, everyone really, you know, my imprint started off with photos and videos.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see too many photo and video creators in this side of the camera.
Yeah.
They're on the back end. But I was a music artist for 10 years. A lot of people don't know.
That's why we was like,
right?
We in the same groove.
You know,
I was an audio engineer.
See? Yeah. I was in the industry for 10 years where I had to get in front of the camera. I had a persona. I had to communicate a certain way. I had to deliver an image. I had to blow myself up bigger than life.
Yeah.
Right? And I think at a certain point I got comfortable behind the camera. Like I got so comfortable, but being comfortable made me look around me and be like, yo, I'm looking normal. I'm looking too normal. I'm not able to stand out from the pack. So that's when I double back to myself like, well, what skills do you have that can make you separate yourself from the pack?
Yeah.
And it was the fact that I know how to get in front of the camera. I know how to talk. I have a personality. And then not just talk, I have built a certain expertise. So now I have something to talk about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So just being able to dig back in my toolbox and pull these skill sets out, just to separate, because we have to. Like when it comes down to leading in your industry, and really what it in the official term is market share. Like when it comes to market share, like when people think of Remarkable Six Studios or Occupy Real Estate Group, how much of the industry does the consumer think about our brand?
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes down to that market share, now it's like I have to stand apart.
Yeah.
I have to figure out some type of way to stand apart so that more of the audience can think about my business over others so that they can come spend money here.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just separating yourself from the pack.
Yeah. I think definitely with being the expertise in or having that expertise in your industry comes from training. A lot of people are lazy nowadays. Like they don't like to train. They don't like to learn. I'm literally learning something new every day.
Hey,
and
that's
people
a message.
Like will ask me every day like, oh, I'm struggling with, I don't know what to post. And I always tell people, if you don't know what to post, you're not learning enough. You're not learning enough.
That is, when I tell you that's so heavy. I was literally in church yesterday. They was talking. They brought up it was something they was talking about, but they was talking about being a student of the game, right? And I literally, and I be scrolling. I be seeing, you know, these creators now, they're using like, let me help increase your brand awareness, or let me help you with your digital marketing, knowing that that's not, they don't, what we're not understanding is how much of a student, like when I tell you my lifestyle is different. I don't listen to music. I listen to podcasts about marketing. I listen to audiobooks. I read books. I take courses daily. Like I'm submerged in the game. And I had to look up one day and think like, how did you get to a place where even you sometimes you make me think when you be like, business coach. And I'd be like, am I? But then I think and be like, yo, I literally I've submerged, like I'm engulfed in the game. So yes, I have a certain level of understanding because I live it, I breathe it. Like this is all that I do, and I don't think people understand that part of it.
Yeah.
Like,
and when I say business coach, I have a weird spot with the name business coach because a lot of times people pose themselves as business coaches but have never been able to actually pour into someone or be a visionary for someone. So when I think of a business coach, I think of one, a visionary, and then two, someone that can solve a problem or adapt to a different business. You can adapt to 20 different businesses if you wanted to. You can find a solution for those type of people or find a marketing solution for those people as well. And then same in real estate, if someone comes to me with a 500 credit score versus a 750 credit score, I can help them just the same. It's the adaptation, and then it's also the visionary. Like I always call myself the problem solver. Like you cannot come to me with an issue that I'm not gonna solve.
That's heavy.
Yeah. So I always tell my friends, if you can come to me with a problem, then I'm gonna solve it. So don't come to me unless you want the problem solved.
That's and literally that's what we do all day long. Like we solve problems. Like I'm sure people contact you. They have. I mean, ultimately, that's what we're here for. And I tell businesses brands this all day long. Like people don't care about your brand. They don't care about your business. They care about their lives. The only reason they contact us or they get with us or they link with us is because we're solving a problem in their life or we're making something easier in their life. And just this whole world of entrepreneurship, we solving problems all day long. It may be the problem of bringing in more income. It may be the problem of generating more leads. It may be a problem of converting leads. Like we're solving problems all day long. So if you can't succeed at being a problem solver, because you know some problems break people down. Like the problem gets bigger than them. It holds them down. It frustrates them. And even one of my mentors, my homeboy William Boston, when I first got into entrepreneurship, he taught me that I needed to have the skill of just that, not being frazzled easily. Like it was the first week I moved into my studio over there on off of University, and I get a call one morning. They like, your studio is flooded. I'm like, what? I get to the studio, a toilet pipe busted, the whole studio is flooded out. Equipment is damaged, just like all this stuff going on, and I was literally like top level hot. You know what I'm saying? But he used that as a teaching moment for me. Like, are you gonna let your emotions dictate how you move these next few steps when you really need to be finding a solution to the problem? And I've watched him go through certain problems that would have had a normal person like hot, but he handled it with such humility. So that set that pace for me. Like, no, you need to have a certain level of humility, and not let things frazzle you, because in this entrepreneurship world, every day, it ain't no telling what you may have to deal with. And I'm sure it's like that in the real estate world too. Because for one, y'all dealing with high numbers. Like, how much is that property? You said the lady bought it for?
She bought it for $1.2 million.
You're dealing with big numbers. Like, and with big numbers comes big problems. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure you have to keep a certain level of cool.
And she actually made a post like saying, she was like, my realtor is just so patient and cool and easygoing. And sometimes like I may feel like inside like I'm freaking out a little bit, but I never show that on the outside. And I never run my business off of emotion. And I try to tell people, like, the more you run your business off of emotion, the more you're always going to have to work. Because you're always going to have to be the one that is solving the problems. Or if you're not willing to outsource those things and make it automated, then you're always going to be the one that is having to deal with the forefront of the issues. Being an entrepreneur is not easy.
It's not.
And especially in the real estate game, I deal with maybe 7 to 8 people in each transaction. The title company, the lenders, the underwriters, the actual lender, and then the buyers, sellers, and whatever. So that's 7 to 8 people that could possibly ruin that transaction that you're having to manage. That's a lot.
That's
so
a lot of hands in the pot.
I had to outsource that. Like, that's why I hired a transaction coordinator. Those are things that you have to like let go in your business, and I think that's hard to do.
I think it really, really is. Even from moving from a photo and video studio to a brand and marketing agency, tapping into these businesses and not just businesses. I would say, I would call them more solopreneurs, small businesses, because that's when we're at the stage where we're just wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
We're trying to do everything. And you touched on something really big, the automation part, because I'm big on automation.
Yeah.
Just because I know that those are the systems that you put in place so that you can really go handle the money-making things. I call it MMA, money-making activity. And a lot of times, even as businesses, we spend all this time creating content, posting content, replying to comments, doing all this. And I ask them, I'll call my mentees up, like, how much MMA have you done today? What you mean? How much money-making activity? Because posting a post ain't money-making activity.
Right.
That's getting your content out there.
Yeah.
But how much activity are you doing to bring revenue into the business? An example of that would be taking that post and emailing it to somebody that's in your email list. Say, hey, I just put up this good tip about home buying. I think you should check it out. Hitting them directly.
Right.
That's a money-making activity because you got somebody that's already within your circle. You're adding value and you're bringing your brand to the forefront of what they're doing. And kind of going back to the automation, a lot of times we feel like we can do everything on our own. Like,
listen,
everything.
I used to think I was Superwoman. I am not Superwoman.
Like that, and I understand that because we are sometimes we're still building.
Yeah.
We're still building. But when we want to scale, now it's time to bring the pros in.
Yeah.
It's time to bring the pros in, and that's more what I've shifted my audience to, like the ones who want to bring the pros in. Because it's a different type of interaction. They may have their things that I need to make things work. They have that stuff in place already, versus me having to like create it for you. Because I found myself doing. I'm sure your first year. How was your first year in business?
Okay.
Were you doing a whole lot?
Yes, because that was a weird year for me. Like, because I had already built relationships outside of real estate before I got into
Because your family is kind of like, everybody's kind of,
so I have 4 brothers. My oldest brother, he has nothing to do with real estate, but he has a data analysis company. And so he's creating, multi-million-dollar company, government contracts. He used to work for the CIA, quit the CIA and create his own company, and now he's making way more money. So he's actually creating data analysis stuff for the real estate game now. So he'll be tied into us eventually, but we're sort of separate right now. And then my older brother, he owns brokerage. I'm in real estate. My little brother, he just got into real estate. My dad, he's been in real estate for about 16 years.
Wow.
So I think there was like a level of, one, I think I had a level of trust with people, but also those relationships I had built in like my entertainment days. I was on the road, I was overseas, I was in Bora Bora, whatever, meeting people every day, like new people every day. So those out-of-state referrals and stuff like that, like people don't know that I can do real estate in anywhere.
All you need is your computer.
Yes, all I need is my computer. So I was able to do that, and then also I had a lot of friends that were just like getting into real estate as well. So the first year, that was a crazy year.
Because we be wanting to be perfect. We want to do. I know that first year wore me out.
Yes, I was so tired. Like, I remember that following year, I made a post and I was like, I'm dedicating this year to taking Sundays completely off.
Mm-hmm. Like, you like me. I work 7 days a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I am going to make an attempt to not work on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, for the most part. Of course, I had those one-offs where I had
Mm-hmm.
customers coming in town. I'm not going to say no to taking a customer to a house.
Mm-hmm.
But I made it where that was like a normal. Like in my
Mm-hmm.
buyer's consultations, hey, I work Monday through Saturday,
Yep.
9 a.m. to 7 p.m., whatever. If you need me after that, I'm available, but these are my working hours.
Yeah, and people don't care about that.
Yeah,
They're gonna call you whenever,
right.
whenever. Like that first year, I did the same thing, wanting to be so perfect. But you come in with this like energy. It's like just making it to the league. You just excited to be there, But yeah. So it's a different level of I guess what's the word? It's just a different level of energy that needs to be put, because we know better now.
Yeah.
We know better.
And I felt like I was going to lose my brand experience, like through my customer experience, like by overworking myself. I didn't have time to build because I was like out in the field every day. I was out showing houses from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Putting in work.
Yeah, that was hard. I made a lot of money, but that was hard. So I had to like take a step back, and I was like, I can't even improve or scale if I don't take a second to breathe.
So when it comes down to like realtors, they get in the game, they get their license, they get with a brokerage, and then they're looking at, the buying, selling. Like, what about, is there money in between that? Is there residual income for them in between that?
So I'm actually working on a class right now for realtors, and it's going to be called, or something along the lines of like how to make passive income in real estate.
That's good.
Because a lot of people don't know, like every time one of my buyers close on a house and they turn on the utilities, I make that passive income. Anytime my customers buy an alarm system, I make that passive income.
Got a nice affiliate.
They are, yes, they, I mean, those are things that they're already going to be paying for. I'm not charging them anything extra. I'm not charging them to, put the alarm system in. If that's what they want to do, I don't press that on them. I'm not a marketer. I'm not going to be like, oh, you need this ADT system. If that's what you're asking for, I'm going to send you the link. You pay for it. I get that referral fee.
That's good.
And I get that referral fee every month. And then solar panels, I don't sell that either. You'll never see me promote that. But if I sell those, that could be possibly a $10,000 check. And that could be monthly income as well.
So they need to look into where they can make passive income at within the transaction.
Yep. Every realtor I refer to those systems, I get a check off of that.
Wow.
Property management, like I'm big on property management. I manage quite a few properties between here and St. Augustine, and then we also manage in Alabama and Georgia too. So those are, I get 10% of the month every month for those properties. So think about it. If you have 50 properties, that's a good amount of income. And so now I'm getting into the HOA management type stuff. Those are bigger, deals. So there's like so many different ways that
so right
people
now they leaving money on the table right now.
Every day. Like it's just stuff that you don't have to actually work for. If you're closing a deal, you should be making 3 more checks off of that.
People we don't think about that. I know I'm in the process of building my affiliate program out. I'm trying to get it so intricate so that even if you leave one of the programs, you get that email like, I'm sorry to see you go.
Yeah.
Maybe this one didn't work out for you, but check out this one. And that's an affiliate. So if they go there, they may have left this program, but I'm still getting paid for them going over here. And I think that's how we have to think. Like, we have to be innovative. Like, we have to be innovative. If you think about the businesses that built this country, like the Rockefellers and the steel industry and the train industry, like, they were innovative, like, through their whole process. They were thinking about ways. They were seeing what, because some people build a blueprint. Like, marketing, photo, real estate. Somebody has built this blueprint that everybody see, right? But it takes the ones to go into the blueprint and to find the holes in it. Like find the holes. Like that's the innovation.
Yeah.
I'm actually writing a book right now. The book is about how to consistently come up with good ideas for business. And I'm only writing the book because like I'm not friend everybody call. I got a call like a couple weeks ago, late night.
Yeah.
My homeboy called me out like, hey, what you think about this?
Yeah.
And run an idea past me, and I'm giving him my feedback. But I'm like, yo, people really depend on me from ideas, and and I don't. I'm never short of an idea. Like I always have one. But I also have a lifestyle that cultivates that.
Yeah.
So I'm writing a book about it. But even through that process, I've been doing research. So I've learned that like I did this course about thinking out the box. And when you think out the box, you actually have to go against what makes sense and promote something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But really what you're doing is you're tapping into the innovation that's going to change what the norm is to something that works, and that's going to become the norm. But you have to, it's hard to think outside the box.
Yeah.
It's like if we would have said,
but it's hard to think outside the box when you're always in a box. Like if you don't move or go 10 minutes down the street, there are 10 car lots down the street. There's $1 million, $2 million houses down the street. If you don't like put yourself in those environments, then you're never gonna get outside the box.
Bingo.
And you're never gonna have like those type of experiences. People think you have to go out of the country to see beautiful places. I've gone to Georgia, I've gone to Arizona, and those places have beautiful experiences that are right here. Or you could go 30 minutes up the road.
That's everything. Just what you absorb, you absorb, and even in business, like sometimes we'll get into our silo where we just doing what we doing, and we may be efficient doing it, but it's like get out of your silo and go around. Sometimes I'll go work at the Panera Bread or the Barnes and Noble and just work just to be around different things or networking events where I'm like, what are you doing? It may not be nothing near what I'm about to do, but I want to be inspired a different way. And that's something as a business owner, we got to keep that in mind.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a big one. And then also just like how you talk about your business, like a lot of people call themselves small business owners, but then you turn around and say like, oh, I want to be treated like Walmart, Target, and whatever. But if you're calling yourself a small business, then you're not on the level of Walmart and Target. I stopped saying, like, the first year I used to say, like, oh, it's free to work with me. It's free to work with me. Yes, as a buyer, you don't have to pay the commission. But I sort of stopped saying that because it was presenting me with free customers. It was like those customers that are looking for something free.
And they're going to make you work harder than the people who
and ask you for some of your commission.
What? Like, yes. No, that is exactly, that's really, really good. Because that goes down to like even on the marketing terms, like the audience, like what audience are you really trying to attract? Free is gonna attract people who, and it took me getting with a business. She's more of a mindset coach, but she helped me understand. Like I had this whole page on my website with all these free resources. She's like, why you got that up there? She was like, so you getting all this traffic to your site with people that are utilizing. Now I understand people are at certain levels of their business where you gotta take advantage of the free resources. Yeah. But do they have the amount of money that your invoice is? So why are you attracted to them? How can you build a sustainable business off of people who can't even afford your services? So it made sense to me then. It was like, okay. But then it was, what type of language, what the people who do have, the audience who do have the type of money, and that's when it comes down to your marketing message. What type of message are you communicating? Because if you're not talking to them, then you talking to the freebies, and now you got a whole different crowd that you're attracting. But that's really important.
And I think sometimes people get caught up in like, oh well, I've sold houses that are basically torn down, and I've sold houses that are
1.2 million.
$1 million houses. So I think people forget, like, okay, you can still service those customers. There's nothing wrong with that. Those people that have bought 10, properties from me that were torn down have made me just as much money as the person who bought one property from me for $700,000. So I think people forget, like, okay, yes, although I'm marketing to this certain crowd does not mean I'm disengaging and saying I cannot work with, anyone lower than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly, because those customers are going to come anyway. They're going to come. You're just going to be targeting a specific group of people.
Right.
That is going to keep your business scaling. Because scaling is everything. Like every year, I don't want to have the same revenue amount every year. I make sure every year there's an increase, even if it's just a 10% increase, some type of increase. How often do you look at your business and make adjustments with your business model?
So the customer I have in St. Augustine, I met that lady 3 years ago.
This is your first time doing business with her?
This is our first time doing business together. People forget about those things. And now we're about to do, I have 2 of her properties under my property management services. And now we're about to build her next house.
Wow. How did you stay connected with her?
Through social media. We met at the River Club 3 years ago.
And she's been seeing your content, I'm sure,
yeah.
and your whole journey.
Yes. Like she mentioned my journey, like the other day when we were sitting down at her house. She was like it's crazy, like, to see your whole journey, like,
wow.
like as a realtor, because she knew that 3 years ago, that was when I started. So it was little of me like, oh, I just started real estate.
Wow.
She's been watching me since that time frame and is now ready. I never pushed on her like, hey, buy a house with me or anything like that. It was always building relationships.
Building relationships. It was something else about this lady that you just, how did you say it? You led with it.
I was talking about how she watched my journey.
She watched your journey on there. Oh, okay. Is recording?
Yeah.
All right. So, and even kind of you mentioned it, how the lady she's been on your social media. Did you have her on any kind of email list or anything?
I never had her on an email list. So literally that one was straight organic. Like, an organic relationship, really.
So she's been on your social media for 3 years now, and you're just now doing business with her. She's been watching your journey, and what you've been doing is, being that you're intentional about your content, you've been telling your story. Like, you've been telling your brand story through the content that you're posting. She's watching that content, feeling like she's a part of it.
Yeah.
To the point where now, when we talk about market share, when it's time for her to do business, you came to mind because you took up more market share in her mind, and she's watched you tell your story, so she locked in. That's like perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's how it's supposed to go. I think sometimes we neglect the power of storytelling on social media. And it only happens when we are intentional with our content.
Yeah.
And you're putting on a content workshop soon, right?
Yeah.
How did that come up?
So I get messages like every day. How do you do this? How do you do this on social media? How do you create a reel? And I noticed like a gap in the education of how to actually use platforms, how to stay up to date with the latest trends, how to stay up to date with, like, the Instagram changes every day. They change where the buttons are every day. So part of that came from organic, people asking me to teach a class on content, how to, make reels. But I didn't want to teach a class on just how to make reels. I could teach somebody like how to, make a video today, but what are you going to do with that in 2 months or 2 years? There has to be a plan, or there has to be like some sort of development before that. I can't make you like social media. I like social media. I like being engaged with people. So I'm automatically going to figure out how to use those platforms.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to wait for anyone to tell me how to do it either. So I think that's what people miss. So when I came up with the idea to do this content workshop, I wanted it to be more than just like we're going to create content. I'm going to show you how to do this one day and then you're going to forget it the next. I want you to have a whole journey because social media is a journey. You need to have that personal development before you start creating content. You need to have that brand development before creating content. And people need to know who you are.
Exactly.
So
those are three keys right there. Those are 3 bars right there. I like that. Because that's like your foundation.
Yeah.
Imagine like, you know, doing some video content, cutting your video on your phone on, and you just not confident. You everywhere because you don't have a structure, and then when somebody says you need to post more, they like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that's really good given that foundation. And I like that because I'm more on, even when with the clients I do coach, they get on me sometimes because I'll be like, do this, do that, do this. And kind of like forgetting, you know, because I live in this.
Yeah.
So I'd be forgetting that, okay, they may be beginning and they may not, I may have left out 10 steps.
Yeah.
And just kind of assuming that they may be, you know, versatile on certain things. Because I like to focus on like, all right, get the content so we can position the content.
Yeah,
now. Let's position it. So I know that's perfect. That's going to be a perfect balance on there. Just helping them create the content.
And understanding the psychology of it all.
Psychology. See, that's why I like talking to you.
Yeah.
That's why I like talking to you. Like, because that's what it's about. A lot of people don't understand that marketing really is human behavior.
Yeah.
It's human behavior. Like, what another company, they have studies that, you know, Target did this or Nike did this marketing campaign and these are results. It's still, you have to apply things and see how your audience absorbs it.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
I cannot give you the plan and say it's gonna work. And I hate those like social media gurus who are like, oh, I can take your business from this to 6 figures, but you don't even know my audience. Like, you don't even know the people around me if they're gonna pay 6 figures.
Yeah.
So
I almost got scammed like that. I think this guy had all the bells and whistles, testimonials, numbers, all this stuff. Come to find out, he was using bots to control numbers and all that. So it wasn't even real people.
Wow.
But that was before I had an understanding of how much of human behavior marketing is, how much of testing and trying things and seeing what works for your business, for your audience, because that's really important. Like, and I know you mentioned Tia earlier, Tia Coleman. We talk all the time about different things, and she's big on like, this is what my audience likes.
Yeah.
Or this is what I want to see, how my audience reacts to this. Because she understands the power of, they may not like everything, and I can try it, but let me see how they respond to it, to see if it's something that I need to continue doing or stop doing.
Yeah.
And that's very important with marketing. And that's when I'm working with people, I give structure based off of like, you know, strategy, but it's also like, okay, after a certain amount of time, let's look at our numbers. I'm big on numbers because the numbers will tell you what's going on. Let's see what our numbers are so we can know what adjustments, like how you mentioned earlier, what adjustments. It may be weekly, it may be monthly or quarterly.
Right.
But let's see what adjustments. And I like how you hit on when you were saying that you let the realtors, they'll only 3 months or a couple, maybe a few weeks, they'll try 3 to 6 months. Even with marketing campaigns, it may take 8 months, 10 months of you delivering the same message.
Yeah.
And even you being in music, I know you remember how you had 2 type of artists.
Yeah.
You had the artists that'll make a song and push it for a couple weeks and go make another song and forget about that one.
Yep.
Then you had the artists who will make a song and they will push that song for 2 years. And then that song will be on the radio.
Yeah.
And their hometown is like, that song old, but
Yeah,
the world
yeah,
is
yeah.
like, that's right, new to us.
Yep.
But that's because they were able to deliver a message and they kept that message going so people caught on to it.
Yeah.
You know, and marketing is the same way. Take that message and push it so people catch on.
People don't like change.
They don't.
People like to see things that are familiar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was even my business making that transition from photo and video studio to marketing and branding agency. I was a little nervous about making that transition, only because I understood how much I had beat my brand identity into them. You know, the only thing that saved me is the fact that on the back end, I was still doing this. I just wasn't communicating it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I was still doing video projects and then sitting down with them like, all right, this is how we gonna position it. This is our strategy. This is how we gonna use it. Doing photos and let's put it on your website here. Let's use this. Let's put some automation in here. I was doing it on the back end,
Yeah.
so that helped me out. But I'm sure if it was like even how Twitter getting a lot of backlash right now because they changed up their logo and did all this stuff abruptly. It wasn't comfortable for the audience, you know, and you got to learn your lessons. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you, G.
Man, look, we be rocking out.
We can talk for about 2 more hours on this thing.
Right. But look, I appreciate you stopping by.
Of course.
We definitely gonna be putting some work in with your workshop.
Yeah.
Cause you always bring good people around.
Yes.
I know anybody that's around you, they good people. The last event was amazing.
Yeah.
That event that let me know right there. And I was really excited about that event because, like, I'm a visionary, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like when I first met you
Yeah.
and you walked in, I seen all this already. Like I seen all of this.
Yeah.
I even see it a lot further, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and catch up to that too. But I've already seen all this. Like I seen this. Like that event made me just be like, "Yup, you be seeing it.
Yeah.
You be seeing it." You know?
Yeah, you was like, you had all these ideas. You like pulled all this stuff out of me, and I was like, "Where'd that come from?"
Hey, just when you get around people and you can just see, for one, it's just be the passion. Like passion, you can't hide.
You can't fake that.
You can't fake it. You can't hide it. It just to a person who like me, who I feed off of it.
Yeah.
So once I get a smell of it, I'm like, yo, like
Yeah.
you about to go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and I already know. I've already seen a lot further. I was at the gym the other day and I ran into this guy. He catch me the same way. And I think I came on too heavy for him because I was like, I just let it all out. And he was like, all right, dude, I'm gonna holler at you. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't, it was too much for him.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, damn, maybe I poured it on too heavy.
Some people ain't ready for those conversations.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely appreciate you stopping by. We're gonna keep rocking out.
Of course.
Boom.
Thanks, G.